$10 super chat from James Johnson, who's also a console in our membership section, which, as you guys know, is $50 a month. That's outstanding. Thank you, James. He says, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this special episode of Hold My Nugget Studios.
Highlight commentary.
Brought to you live by VonAllen Sports. With the intro video, when you were getting mad about Antonio Brown winning.
Enough from the clown.
I want this man's life ruined. You don't get to win. You should never win. When we haven't even been there, this is ridiculous. I can't deal with this. You kidding me? They saved us ocean. Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown got to compete for Lombardi, and the worst one won. Antonio Brown shouldn't be allowed to win Super Bowl.
All right, I'll admit, I was not so hard on Antonio because he was playing with Tom. What I wrote, this was a joke, okay? Check this out. Brady will soon be throwing to a 7th-round quarterback, a drug addict, and a retard. This will be Belichick's greatest cheat yet. It's sad and pathetic that the best wide receiver in America is not in the NFL. I blamed him for that. It's his own stupidity. This is the guy who records people, doesn't tell them about it, and releases it. She says, my first thought when I saw AB acting out, what was he on? Well, maybe that painkiller has something to do with it. The point is that I kind of didn't go as hardcore on Antonio Brown as I probably should have back then. It's different when you're winning, you know, when your guy's winning, you know, you're okay with it. But have you seen what he's doing lately? The stuff on Twitter with Giselle and stuff?
That is a woman he's got kids with, man. Brady had your back the entire time. Brady was all love with you.
This is a parody, man. This is a charity shirt to raise money for the fatherless kids.
But even that's a dig. Randy Moss would never he never posted a picture with him and his wife. I learned so much about you today, it's not even funny.
Good, man.
I learned.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, you know, to see how it's all unfolding, because I remember years ago, or I should say, I believe it was last year, when Ryan Clark had said on national television, you know, that Antonio Brown's just not a very good human.
And now finally showing y'all that he's just not a good human.
And I thought that was a bit harsh, you know, to say. But my biggest frustration that I had with Antonio was just how he handled everything. It just seemed like there was a lack of accountability that existed, because early in his career, there may have been problems that was happening behind the scenes, whether it was him and the Steelers defense and him and some coaches, but it was always held, you know, particularly under wraps. But then once that Facebook Live incident happened, and then they had the news come out that he was receiving $500,000 to go live in the locker room, and he just prioritized that, which I completely understand. You want to get your money, but I don't know if they specified in their contract, well, right after the game, when the coach is speaking, whatever the case. They probably just wanted to go live, see some interactions with the players. But then he ended up catching, you know, Mike Tomlin trying to fire his team up to get ready to play New England, who's been spanking us for years and continue to do so. So then, since that was the case, right after that happened, he almost tried to dip a toe into water as it came to accountability rather than jumping all the way in. And then it ended up, you know, spiraling into things that was even way worse, ultimately leaving Pittsburgh, going to New England, playing one game and then getting thrown off that team, going to Tampa Bay and not really changing his behavior. So my biggest problem that I had with it was, it's more than just being a football player. It's just being you're a father of 5. So, and your children are on social media. Like they're very young, and they have, you know, cell phones to where they're able to see you acting the way that you're acting, throwing candy, you know, penises at your child's mother and all this, but you're recording all of it. It's one thing if somebody's recording you. You're personally recording that and putting that out there.
Hey, Charles, here got a bag of dicks. Fish head.
So then now getting to the point with Giselle and everything, it's just absolutely ludicrous.
I know people say this a lot, and it's said from every angle, but it's true though. I remember Antonio Brown in the first half of his Steelers career. I used to talk about him like you would talk about Roddy White or Julio Jones, or Marvin Harrison. You know, quiet guys who just do their job. Okay, I know it's hard to believe. Any of you guys out there who just started watching football the last 5 or so years, Antonio Brown used to be a quiet guy who just lined up and did his job. You never heard from him. It was crazy. Then he got hit by Vontaze Burfict, and I believe that was the turning point right there. I know it's obvious to say that, but it's got to be that, right? Or
yeah, I would agree. It would have to be that, because his level of humility just plummeted. But although he was still performing at an incredibly high level, it just seemed as if that was the turning point in which he was like, wait a minute, I can market myself as AB more than continue to be, the blue collar Antonio Brown that I was. He just must have seen the marketability that existed over there. Like, all right, I can be more than just football. But the problem was you ended up burning every bridge that you had.
Absolutely. It's insane. And now he's, I did an episode a few weeks back when he posted that picture of him and Giselle celebrating after Tom's divorce rumors. Now he's stepped it up. He's turned it into a T-shirt, and he says all the proceeds go to fatherless children. And I'm sitting there thinking, Antonio Brown, he should be one of those cases where he leaves his children. I couldn't imagine this guy being a father, but I wouldn't do this to my enemies. I wouldn't do that to my enemies. I would not put someone's wife out on the internet like that, like he's doing. He's going to be the best example of CTE when he passes away. I'm telling you, there's going to be brain rot in there that is so severe. Nothing like Junior Seau. I mean, it's going to be just 10 times worse. I mean, this guy is insane. We have a $5 super chat from Ryan Dyer. He says, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Week 8 NFL commentary. Jameis already threw a pick. Oh, shit. Okay, well, that's what he does, right? Jameis, let me finish the intro before you throw an interception. Well, I mean...
It's a callback to that 2019 30 for 30 season for Jameis
30 for
Winston.
30. I mean, I was actually proud of him because I just wanted to see it happen. I was like, come on.
He was two picks short.
Yes.
And then his last pass, he threw an interception. I think he threw a pick six that game. And the last pass of that season ended on an interception. It was it was almost like you couldn't write a better script. And he led the league in passing. So it's like, what? You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You leave the team, they win the Super Bowl with Tom.
The worst of two evils won in your case. I mean, we saw in the intro video you taking off your jersey. That, I don't think that was planned. I think that was real. You were actually mad, like angry. And I've gotten that way before. I think the most angry I've ever gotten during a game on the show in front of people was the Packers-Bucks NFC Championship game. Because the first half went so well. Second half, Bruce Arians said, hey, we're up by a lot. Why don't we just throw it 50 yards down the field like a bunch of idiots? And I was going I had a complete meltdown on the show.
No biscuit, no biscuit. We know what that biscuit tastes like. Are you telling me they passed it on 3rd and 2?
To Evans, and it was picked.
Why? Why?
This is the
Why? Why?
It's almost like a setup.
This is the worst coaching display I've ever seen. Why are you shaking your head? Check the out of the play.
What's Tom bitching about? Punt.
And it's
What's his rating now?
Negative, sucker. That's what it is. Your coach has proven that he's an incompetent dick.
This has got to be the most stressful game of football I've ever watched.
And I felt that's what your reaction was, because I can only imagine him playing for my team for so many years and then going and getting that. And he owes Tom Brady everything.
Absolutely.
His Hall of Fame career is going to go with a Super Bowl ring and a Super Bowl catch, a touchdown catch. As where, like you said, Calvin Johnson and Randy Moss and Terrell Owens, they don't have it. It's kind of unfair. I mean, it is, Yeah,
and then now to look in hindsight of how he's treating the guy who got him onto the team. It's like this man, Tom didn't sacrifice everything to get Antonio onto the team, but he was the only guy vouching for you. And then you still operate the way that you operate now. And when you look at players like Steve Smith, players like Terrell Owens, Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson, Andre Reed, all of these guys, Andre Johnson, these guys who don't have any hardware. They're Hall of, like a number of them are in the Hall of Fame. Some of them possibly can go to the Hall of Fame, But that lack of jewelry plays a large role. And Antonio Brown was on pace to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. When you talk about the best receiver of the 2010s, if you really look at the numbers and the performances between him and Julio Jones, he actually has Julio beat out. So he's the number one guy. And then still, because of his actions, he'll be omitted from the Hall of Fame. I'd highly doubt it's going to happen. Deion Sanders said a few weeks back, where he's like, if they let him into the Hall of Fame, it's going to be an absolute madhouse. He hasn't been back to Canton since he got inducted. He said he would personally fly there to see the ceremony.
Hey there, how you doing? Coach here outside of beautiful Arrowhead Stadium, home of the Kansas City Chiefs. You're watching VonAllen Sports, real and honest NFL analysis. So subscribe now and join the empire. VonAllen Sports, let's go, baby.
VonAllen Sports.